When I mention the first New England district, what is the first thing that comes to mind? It's probably the amazing teams that live there. For instance, 195, the Cyber Knights, the multiple-time district championship winning and division winning team who came out of the Stat Curie division last year. 125, a two-time district championship winning team who's done well all throughout their history. Even now 2168, a team who took me by surprise winning both districts and the district championship last year, doing all around great. Even some of the historic greats. For instance, 126, Gale Force, the first ever First for Bias world champion. Or Aces High, 176, the 1999 world champion who's done well ever since. As well as 177, whom, if you've watched this channel, you obviously know I've talked about before. They are a two-time world champion as a second pick, the only team to ever do that, as well as a sixth time in a row making it to Einstein. However, one of the downsides of this, having so many amazing teams all in the same place, is that you end up with teams who are underdogs, teams who are good and great, and who in maybe another district system would have been championed as one of the best, go a little bit under the radar. And today, I'll be talking about one of them. I was given the suggestion by a comment, and what's cool was this is a team who I personally met in 2016 in the Carver Division. A team from Maine in the United States, whom was rank 1 and captain of the number 1 alliance in the 2016 Carver Division. Of course, you already know them. Team BERT, Team 133 out of the New England District from Standish, Maine. Boney Eagle High School's team made an imprint on me in 2016 as they were rank 1. They picked 230, who was also a team from their district, and then went on to take on the world. And then eventually to take on the number 2 alliance, the world champion alliance captained by the Beach Bots. This is where I first met them. They're a team who I've watched ever since. I've always been watching them throughout their years since 2016, and I've always liked watching them succeed. Today I'll be making a video about them, one of what I'll call an underdog of FRC, especially in their region, and especially making it to Einstein for the first time last year. I thought that was an incredible accomplishment that I was glad to see, as well as something that should be celebrated. So today this is both a spotlight thing as well as a underrated team of FRC. I'll be calling this a spotlight for an underdog team in the New England District. Let's look at some of their accomplishments. They've been around since 1997, quite a while alongside other teams who started there. However, they did do well all throughout their history, such as in 2001 when they won a regional, or 2006. However, what I think of their success and when they became more consistent with how they did was the second year of the New England District, that being 2015. This is when they'd win their first district. However, before that, they'd start off at the Pine Tree District, where they would rank 8th. They would team up with teams 58 and 3609. As part of their alliance, they would have a high enough average ranking score to make it onto the finals, with scores of 78 and 90 in the quarters, and 119, 98, and 104 in the semis, and unfortunately get out in the finals against an alliance of 45-64, 56-87, and 52-65. Here they win excellence in engineering as well as a finalist, which is a great way to start off your season. Going on to their next event, the University of New Hampshire event in Durham. They would rank 9th, and what I always find interesting here is in 2015, if you saw my sheet of the most likely alliances to win by year, here in 2015 it's actually the most lopsided towards rank 1, with very few of the other alliances winning, and with 0 of rank 8 alliances winning. However, here, Team 133 would be part of the number 6 alliance, being the captain. They were able to put together a number 6 alliance who was able to make it all the way to the finals, with high ranking scores of 140 and 136, with their partners 213 and 501. They would team up here, make it all the way to the finals, where they'd actually have the second highest ranking average, however beat an alliance of 58, 45-64, and 126. Where they become district champions, as well as Team Spirit Award winners. On to the championship, their own district championship and the championship, they would not be picked for an alliance. However, this is a great start to this was a great glimmer of what was to come in the next few years. And it's amazing that they are able to make it to the finals in both their events, especially in 2015. And especially on the number 6 alliance. On to the 2016 event, the one that I knew them best for, with their robot Frankenstein. They'd start off with the North Shore event. They would rank 3rd, captain their own alliance alongside 47-61 and 44-74, where they would win the quarterfinals against yet again Team 58, 49-09 and 501. Onto the semis, they would be taken out by the lines of 49-5, 39-30, and 16-99. Unfortunately, as unfortunate as this was, they would pick up the Industrial Design Award and then go on strong to the next event. At the Pine Tree event, they would rank second and get picked up by rank 1, that being 15-19 Mechanical Mayhem, the 2013 World Finalists themselves, as well as 56-33. They would win the quarterfinals against, you guessed it, 58, alongside their alliance partners 35-51 and 39-30. Going on to the semis, they win against an alliance of 172-230, remember them from later, and 51-22. Then in the finals, they beat an alliance of 166-125, the Neutrons themselves, and 45-55 to become district champions. They would also win the Excellence in Engineering Award. On to the district championship. They would team up as part of the number 1 alliance alongside teams 45-64 and 238, where they would win in the quarterfinals against 166, 175, and 2067. On to the semis. They would beat the alliance of 126, 1768, 999, and then eventually they're back about 49-5. Finally, in the finals, they would go up against an alliance, a very powerful one, mind you, of 125, 195, and 2168, the Aluminum Falcons themselves. Although this wasn't the 2019 Aluminum Falcons, they were still a great, almost dark horse pick. They would lose their first match, win the second off of a penalty the same way that the alliance that they lose to at Worlds would be, the Carver winning alliance would do in the finals of Einstein, ironically 195 to 195 against 195's alliance, and unfortunately lose the third match to become finalists. However, this was a very powerful alliance that they were up against, and they were able to beat them in one match. They would easily qualify for the World Championship, where they would rank first, 13-3 overall, teaming up with teams 230, remember them from earlier, 910, who was a Michigan team who, if you didn't know from 2016, actually didn't qualify for the district championship, however qualified off of a regional that they won. And then finally, their third pick, 1775. This alliance was a very powerful one that I remember watching. They were able to win their first quarterfinal. Unfortunately, 133 would have to sub out for 1775, or they would lose the second final, against a very competent alliance of their own right. That being the 8th alliance of 503, 359, 4607, and 228. Which of course is Frog Force, the Hawaiian Kids themselves, CIS, and then their backup out as well. They would win the third match going on to the semifinals. In the semifinals, they would go on to win in the semifinals against another powerful alliance with mostly Michigan teams, which would be 5460, Strike Zone, the Michigan District Finalists themselves, 3057, the Comets, 85, and 1746, their backup bot. Going on to the finals, they would go up against the number 2 alliance, very powerful one as I've mentioned before, one who I just made a video about strategy for. This alliance of 330, 2481, 120, and 1086. The world champions themselves. They would lose the first match 170 to 190, win the second match 230 to 225, then unfortunately lose the third match 212 to 227, becoming finalists. However, they were finalists to the world champions themselves and left an impact on many people who were able to watch them. Moving on to their 2017 season, it wouldn't be as eventful as the 2016 season. However, Clay Bear and Ramona, their robots, would go on to do well. They would start off at the North Shore event, ranking 10th and being part of the number 1 alliance alongside teams 45-64 and 173. They would win their first match, while unfortunately losing the next two, becoming quarterfinalists. On to their second event, the Pine Tree event. They would rank 9th, be part of the number 3 alliance alongside 55-06 and 63-37, where they would win their first match, lose the second, win the tiebreaker to go into the semis. They'd go up against an alliance of 40-55, 663, and you guessed it, 58. They would win their first match, however lose the next two, becoming semifinalists. They would win the Judges Award, though. On to the District Championship, they'd rank 31st, and be picked up by the number 5 alliance, alongside teams 34-64 and 11-53. Unfortunately, they would get out in the quarterfinals against an alliance captained by the Neutrons. One other thing that I do want to mention here, it is an off-season and I do tend to shy away from this in terms of regular play. However, this is one that I thought was very interesting. They'd be part of Battlecry 18 as part of the number 8 alliance, alongside Team 319 Big Bad Bub in 839. They would part of the number 8 alliance against the number 1 alliance of 195 the Cyber Knights, 157 and 2168 the Aluminum Falcons. Needless to say, they lose their first match, win the next two, going on to the semifinals. They'd go up against 238, 131, and 32-36. They'd win the first match, lose the second, win the third, going on to the finals, where they would win in 2 against 1058. Remember them, the team who made it to Einstein as part of the number 8, as part of the Archimedes division, 2084 and 55-56. Fortunately for them, though, they'd win in 2 matches, becoming Battlecry 18 champions as part of the number 8 alliance. On to their 2018 season. In their 2018 season, BERT would start off at the North Shore event. They would rank first, go 16-2 overall, picking teams 319, Big Bad Bob, and 1289. They would win both quarterfinals against an alliance of 246, 49-6, and 3205. Going on to the semifinals, they would win both matches against 57-35, 67-63, and 811. Then going to the finals where they beat an alliance of 238, 125 themselves, and 67-31, becoming district event champions. On to the Pine Tree event, they would rank first, pick team 56-87 and 51-22. Then the Outliers 51-22 would win both quarterfinals, win both semifinals, and win both finals, especially against 49-06, a team who'd been out in the quarterfinals of the competition before. They would win this as well as be recognized with the Chairman's Award. On to the district championship, they would rank fourth, captaining their own number 4 alliance, and they would pick team 125, the Neutrons, and 238. They would win the quarterfinals against an alliance of 32-36, 15-19, and 558. Going on to the semifinals, they'd go up against an alliance of 177, 176, and 78, a very powerful alliance, a very historic one at that. They would win their first match, however, unfortunately for them, lose the next 2 to become semifinalists. However, it cannot be overemphasized the power and the power of the alliance they're going up against. Going on to the Carson division, they would be ranked 14th and be part of the number 3 alliance, alongside teams 50-50, 39-40, and 36-04. They would win both quarterfinals and go up against to the semifinals where they'd be bested by the world finalists 217, 33-57, 49-67, as well as the Blue Devils 41-30. Going into their most recent season, as I mentioned before, this would be the first time that they ever made Einstein, and it was a very interesting thing to watch that's just the same. Starting off at their first event, Southern New Hampshire, they would rank first, pick team 319 Big Bad Bob and 885, where they would win both quarterfinals, win both semifinals, tie the first final, lose the second, and then win the next 2 against 1922, 1729, and 1277, winning this event as well as the Industrial Design Award. One thing that I have a lot of respect for is teams who are able to win these, who are able to go through many matches like this. For instance, I remember meeting a team in 2017 who went through, I think they said 5 or 6 semifinal matches at their regional. It's always impressive to watch teams have that grit and determination to make it through those finals matches without their robot breaking, as well as keeping that determination to go on and win it. Onto the Rhode Island event, they would rank 4th, part of the number 2 alliance, alongside teams 173 and 51-12. They would win both quarterfinals, win the first semifinal, lose the second, win the tiebreaker, go into the finals against teams 78, 21-68, the Aluminum Falcons, and 47-96. They would lose their first match, win the second, giving 21-68 a bit of a run for their money, however, unfortunately lose the last match to become finalists. They would also win the Quality Award, though. On to their third event of this year, at the Pine Tree event, they would rank second, be picked up by the Outliers 56-87 and 40-55, win both quarterfinals, going to the semifinals where they'd win the first off of the other alliance committing a red card, lose the second by a single point, and then win the third to go on to the finals. In the finals, they'd beaten the alliance of 15-19, 17-68, and 61-61, becoming district champions. They'd also win the Innovation and Control Award. On to the New England District Championship, they'd be ranked third, and then pick team 56-87. Had worked well before, so why not again? The Outliers as well as 11-53 to go into here. They would win both quarterfinals. Going to the semifinals, where they'd be taken up by the eventual champions 125, 21-68, and 558. Going on to the Daily Division. One thing to note about the Daily Division is that both ranked 1 and 2 were both powerful New England teams. 319 Big Bad Bob and 176 Aces High. Big Bad Bob would pick the Michigan team 36-41, the Flying Toasters, and then 26-11 and 15-74. Team 176 Aces High would pick team 2200 Rambotics, eventually picking teams 223 and 57-40. The next team, ranked 3, Trisonics, out of the 1st State Michigan District, would rank 4, Alliance Captain 3. Trisonics would pick Team 133 BERT, as well as 862 Lightning Robotics and 2614 Mars, the 2017 Hall of Fame team. This alliance would do well, winning both quarterfinals, going on to the semis where they would win both semifinals against a number 6 alliance, and then number 7 alliance, and then go on to the finals where they would be beaten the first final but win the next 2 against this number 1 alliance to make it all the way to Einstein Field. A tremendous accomplishment, especially against this very powerful rank 1 alliance. Thank you all for watching. This has been the FRC Historian. It was great to cover Team 133. They are really an underdog in their region, as you've heard throughout this video. There are many teams who they face time and time again. It's always great to see a team, although they might lose to a team initially, they'll go on to come back and then go on to win later on. Thank you all for watching. Let me know any ideas you have down in the comments below. And this has been the FRC Historian.